Cameroonians, almost 3 times the 9 million he had in 1982. The occasion is the New Deal's 39th anniversary in power. This is Press Hour on CRTV. I am Moki Edwin Kinzaka in Yaoundé. And to discuss this with me, we have Professor Edmond Bilois, Vice Rector of the University of Yaoundé 2 and CPDM communicator. Professor, you're welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you, Edwin. Thank you for inviting me.
By Professor Bilois, we have Christian, journalist and publisher of the Guardian Post newspaper. Welcome, Christian.
Thank you very much. The pleasure is mine.
Prince Mondi is a journalist working with Vision 4 television channel. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much, Edwin, for having me today.
And all the way from Bamenda in the Northwest region to take part in this program is Dr. Nick Ngwanyam, a politician and president of St. Louis University Institute. Doctor, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be with you here again. I've not been to CRTV for a long time. And don't forget to mention that I'm also a CPDM, but a progressive type.
Okay. We shall know from you what a progressive type is.
A progressive type is the one that does what President Paul Biya once done.
Okay, thank you very much. To set the ball rolling, let's have Emanuela Vemnui with an update of what the newspapers reported during the week.
The eye of the press was kept open, as always, on diverse happenings in Cameroon and elsewhere the week ending. Anglophone leaders, Ambazonian actors and civil society organizations meet to build trust in a 4-day forum in Canada in the Post newspaper, igniting fresh hope of a return to normalcy in the Northwest and Southwest regions in the Guardian Post. As the Toronto Summit succeeds to build trust in the horizon, especially as the Canada Leadership Retreat lays groundwork for broad-based international mediation in the median. Even though the Eden says verbal BRICS blast Toronto Anglophone Peace Initiative, separatist kingpins endorse effective school functioning in the Northwest Southwest in the Guardian Post, as Anglophone leaders build trust in Canada Summit in the Voice newspaper during Southern Cameroon's high-level leadership retreat, which set a fertile ground for mediation in the Star before British High Commissioner to Cameroon makes strong outing on Ambazonian independence struggle in Newswatch. At a time, separatist leaders are neutralized in Mezam division in the horizon. General Cross and Die then dies after crossing military red line in the Herald Tribune. To Newswatch, Ambazonian General Cross and Die dies after crossing into church as mastermind of PCC chairlady kidnapping. Then Army General meets Amba General Cross and Die in The Voice. Before the paper chronicles the unprecedented destruction and stagnation of the Northwest Southwest due to the crisis. And to wrap it all, Amba fighters again kidnap Ngoke Tundia communication delegate in the Guardian Post. Just when Minister Tassong restates government's reconstruction ambition for the Northwest Southwest in the Chronicle Times and tells Northwesterners to face challenge of insecurity if Ring Road must be completed in the horizon, he insists Northwest population must say no to insecurity if they want the Ring Road in the Guardian Post. As he maintains, insecurity is to blame for stagnation of projects in the Northwest region. In the Reporter, the race for the Fecafoot top job also got media attention. Cameroon Tribune reports that the last battle for Fecafoot election is on, especially as the list of regional delegates presidents already known in Cameroon Insider. Then Minad Boss waits in Fecafoot saga again in the Guardian Post as he instructs governors to crack down on individuals masquerading as Fecafoot officials before warning Senator Albert Bida and co. that they will henceforth be considered as delinquents in the horizon. Then eyes are all set on Seydou Bombonjoya and Samuel Etofis for Fecafoot presidency in Cameroon Insider. Cameroonian conjoined twins are successfully separated in Turkey in Echo Outlook. Then family thanks Bia and Y for the assistance in their evacuation in the horizon. At a time, 5 persons are reported dead as cholera hits Yaoundé, Kondo Titi, and Bakassi. Politics, the New Deal at 39, Cameroon Insider counts the big achievements. Paul Biya clocking 40 in pass soon in the Voice of the Voice Weekender. Chronicle Times presents the high moments challenges of Biya's 39 years in power. Cameroon Tribune is interested in the challenges that await new section presidents of the CPDM before the Lekki CPDM kickstarts crusade for Biya's candidacy in the Guardian Post. Let's now end our press review with this story in Cameroon Insider, where undesired pregnancies are breaking records in the Northwest region. Experts say it is a consequence of the ongoing socio-political crisis that has been running for 5 years now, where children are born to unknown fathers and so difficult to issue birth certificates, a worrisome situation which experts say may degenerate if the prolonged crisis drags on. Until I come your way again, this is your Hour with the Press.
Now, Christian, you saw what newspapers reported during the week. Is there any particular thing that caught your attention?
Well, I think I'd like to talk about the cholera outbreak that was reported in Yaoundé and Ekono Titi. But I think the one in Yaoundé does not surprise me, because as we speak, even to come to Mbalade today, I had to be driving and fighting the road with deaths. I mean, to imagine that the capital city of Cameroon is in such a terrible mess. A few months to AFCON, I really don't know what we are really thinking about. I can hardly believe that what I'm seeing on the street of Yaoundé is the capital of a country in Africa.
But the workers of the Hygiene and Sanitation Company have gone back to work.
But Muki, you drive through Yaoundé, right?
I mean, that it will improve in the days ahead.
You need to see what is still left to be carried away from the street of Yaoundé, even right at the center town. And unfortunately, we have ministers who drive past through and it looks like nobody bothers.
Prince Mondi?
Yes, Moki. I got this information regarding the ring road in the Northwest region, where Minister Paul Tasson was telling the people that if they want the ring road, they should bring back peace. But is it today that the ring road was promised? Something that was promised years ago. Why was it not realized till today that you're coming to tell the people that if they want the ring road, they should bring back peace? So it's very disturbing. It means that if there was no crisis, the ring road would have been done. I don't believe so.
Dr. Ningwanyan?
Oh, thank you. Two quick things. The first quick thing is, we see people, or the military has killed this man, this man has killed the military. I am not excited by who kills who, and I think the sooner we stop this foolishness, the better for us, because we are only hurting ourselves. I don't take any pleasure in A killing B or B killing A. It doesn't make sense, and we are just showing that we are not mature enough, and something is seriously wrong with us. And it's a stupid war, and we ought to stop it, and the war is going to stop. The second thing I want to say is to come back to what Mr. Mundi said in connection with the ring road. I think it's not good that the people in charge should keep taking people for fools and talking about the ring road and going around playing games with it. After the major national dialogue, which I think was not properly done, they came up with this thing, reconstruction and so on, and were some of those who started to shout to say that there's no way you can start reconstructing in a nation with the war still going on, the guns are still firing, and the best way to reconstruct is reconstruct the man, and then by reconstructing the man is bring peace, come in there with this emotional intelligence and solve the problems, then stop the war, then you can reconstruct. And the very people who are in place now said, no, we are going to reconstruct, and now he turns around to say he cannot reconstruct because there's war. I don't like this kind of rigmaroling and taking people for idiots.
When you say bring back peace, is peace in a box somewhere somebody should go and take and bring?
That's the point. Peace is something. Peace in itself does not exist. You see, if I say, Edwin, go bring me smoke, you can't bring me smoke. Smoke is a byproduct of a fire. So when something goes on, smoke is produced. And if we say that peace is a byproduct of something, that means you are called upon to do something so that the peace can show up. And if you have not done what you are supposed to do and you are expecting peace, it's not going to work. And we should stop. And you say, Bamin, that people should go bring peace. Bring peace from where?
What caught your attention?
I agree with Dr. Ningwanyam and Prince Mundi. Right from the beginning, we said, how can we reconstruct when there is no peace? So it's just a waste of time. But we can think about reconstructing later on, but not now.
Yes.
The second thing I would like to talk about is the
Before we get to the
election.
second thing, I think that they said they will start reconstruction in areas where there is already peace.
Yeah, but I mean, there has to be total peace, all right? Because if you reconstruct in Bambili and war is going on in Bamenda or in the Mezam division, how do you know that the war is not going to spill over in Bambili? All right, you understand? Okay. The second thing I would like to talk about is the election at the Fecafoot. It seems to me that it would have been a lot wiser to organize the election after the African Cup. Because if you organize it now, we don't know what the outcome is going to be. It's likely to disturb the cup that is coming in January. So it is not wise to organize the election now.
Thank you. Now,
No, Moki, please. I think
no,
please, 1 minute. I'm sorry, please.
20
I want
seconds.
to talk 10 seconds. About Fecafoot, please. You know, we are following the calendar that has been set by CAF and FIFA. I don't even see how the elections is going to disturb the AFCON. Because Cameroon is not actually the key organizer of the tournament. We are just the host nation. So I think we should go away with the impression that when the elections take place in early January, when in the same month, there is nothing that would...
I think Professor's issue is that it may disturb the Lions from giving us a good show.
That is not,
because the Lions...
the Lions are not involved into all the politicking within Fecafoot.
They are under
But
Fecafoot.
those who are managing the team and those who are managing Fecafoot are all involved in
They
these
are all
shady
involved.
deals.
They are all
We all know
involved.
the outcome of some of these elections, and we know how it has destabilized football in Cameroon.
Yeah, but
So that is going
Christian,
to be a
you know why we are always one out of Cameroon? Because over there, they don't have the internal pressure that they are going to have here, right here in Cameroon.
Thank you. Now, we have our first topic coming up now, New Deal at 39. We shall talk about the lessons. But first of all, Professor Edmond Bilua, Vice Rector, University of Yaoundé 2, CPDM supporter, member, and communicator of that party. Let us start looking at the head of state's 39 years in power. What do you have as achievements that your party can start showing today?
Well, I think if I want to be objective about it, there have been many good things, and there have also been many shortcomings. You remember when the president went to France when he came to power, and when he was talking to Yves Mourouzi at Radio Monte Carlo, he told him, "I want to be remembered as the president who brought in prosperity and democracy." Okay, you can argue that somehow he has managed to set up a democratic society. Somehow, okay? Although many other parties contributed to the setup of that democracy. But I think that is Achilles tendon is the economy. He has not been able to industrialize the country, and there is no way you can develop an economy if you don't industrialize.
I would like that we start one with the achievements. We shall come to the failures.
Okay, the achievement. Yes, the achievements. He has been able to set up a democratic society, and I'm not saying that everything is perfect. I'm saying that many people enjoy freedom of speech, freedom of association. There are so many political parties today. Many of the things that were in the constitutions have been put in place. The Senate, the Assembly,
the
regional councils, and so on and so forth. So, although I'm not belittling what the other parties have done, but he could have just said, okay, no democracy, like what people have done before, have done elsewhere. But he somehow he has let people enjoy some degree of freedom. Because some people will say that the Northwest and the Southwest don't enjoy any political degree of freedom, all right? But one thing that can be remembered and one thing that cannot be denied President Paul Biya is that he has made sure that multi-partyism has come back. Now we have so many parties. He has made sure that there are so many freedoms, freedom of speech, freedom of association, freedom of religion, and so on and so forth. So on the political side, I think he has done well. Done well. We cannot say that about the economic side.
Dr. Ningwanyam, you are also of that party. And you started by saying that you are one of the members of that party who believes in what the president wants you to do. We did not understand you quite well when you said that.
Thank you very much. I think it's the first time I'm coming on set with Professor Biloa, and it's the first time I'm listening to him keenly. Coming to the set, I was a little bit anxious because I thought he was going to talk like other CPDM who are always playing the drum and praising, and I think I'm comfortable with him. Just to say again that when you look at a country like Cameroon, listen to me carefully. I can explain very well because I run an institution, and man is not God. So you have somebody there who is directing, and then you have people whom he has put there to be able to work for the masses and work for common good. Now, the whole of that mechanism is not working well in Cameroon. So as a leader, he would say, this is what I want us to be doing, but you have these courtiers, these people in the middle, whom I call the elites, who had become very deceitful and tell a lot of lies, and they have caused a lot of mess in the whole system. And so the vision of the president is not carried forward as it ought to be done. When you were talking about the book, he had this book, there was this thing, I don't know whether it's a book or it was one of his slogans, rigor and moralization.
It's part of communal liberalism.
Good. If we had followed the things written in communal liberalism as they are supposed to be, Cameroon would have been one of the best countries. And we have a lot of slogans, but we don't know how to make things happen, and that's where the problem is. We don't know how to make things happen, and then we see a lot of elites, just like what I was condemning in the minister who went up to the Northwest. There are things on the table, you don't do your job or you don't do it properly, then you turn around, you blame others, and then you sing praises to the president. We've been doing it. The president has given everybody a lot of opportunity, but people fail to use those opportunities to deliver. That is the greatest problem.
What are then the achievements of your party chair for the last 9 years?
Well, I'll first start by correcting by giving my own reading into the what we call the multi-party politics and the democracy. I will start by saying that democracy, like Professor was saying that President Paul Biya gave us democracy. No, democracy is the human right, and you don't give it to people. If you hold it, then that's something wrong. It's a crime. It's something that you should just let people have. If you are giving it, it's because you are holding it, which is not right. And then to think that because you have 350 political parties is a measure of democracy is false. We have something that looks like a democracy, but there's no democracy. And we have 350 associations that are not effective. And if you really want to make democracy work in Cameroon, we're going to reduce all those parties to 5. And the mechanism for doing it is very, very easy. We have to have someone who is at the right, which is the CPDM, someone who's at the left, which is the SDF. We have somebody in the center. I would think of Cabral Libi, for instance. I would say he probably was in the center. Then we look like MRC of Professor Maurice Kamto. I think he's center left or something. And then there's some other, those people who say they are presidential majority. They're center right. Now you just need to move the CPDM from where they are, let them become more progressive, and it's very easy to do that. It's just by going into the what do you call the manifestos of the SDF, the MRC, and these ones. Copy all those good things that they're doing, those that are good ideas, and implement in the CPDM, and the whole thing changes, because most of these people are just singing and dancing around for food.
Thank you. We're talking about achievement, Christian.
That's to me a very difficult question to say that. We talk about the achievement of the New Deal. But however, since I'm in the media, I think I can credit the Biya regime for freedom of speech and expression. Otherwise, some of the things we're saying here will not be able to say in the days of Aijo. Of course, even though he came with time, he had no choice, but we still thank him for bringing and letting us speak our minds and practice journalism the way we do in Cameroon. A lot of things have been said in this country about Paul Biya, written about him. I'm not sure by his own commandement he has ordered that journalists be arrested in this country so far. In Tanzania, the late head of state, Magufuli, even though he was hailed as a Messiah, he was a dictator because he did not tolerate criticism from journalists. That's why we are not seeing in Cameroon so far. For that, I credit the head of state and then freedom of association, and like you mentioned that. We're talking about democracy. I think what we have in Cameroon is some kind of organized syndicate in the name of democracy, because our own democracy in Cameroon is what we call in French, or let me put it in English, advanced democracy. With 2025 coming, I can tell you that they already know who is going to have what's called. That's the kind of democracy we have in Cameroon. So it is, to me, some kind of jangi where if you agree with my policy, I give you what percentage and all of that. There are a lot of things as far as that make Cameroon look like we're still in one party system. First of all, why are we not introducing the single ballot system? If truly,
we shall get to the challenges.
Yeah,
I thought we were talking about the achievements. You're talking about democracy, you're talking about freedom of expression and
yes,
the rest.
Forget that there's democracy. First of all, we have asked that the voting age should be reduced to 18. If at 18 years somebody has a national identity,
we shall put it as part of lessons. Now, let us go now to peace. President Paul Biya is credited for so many people as the one who has worked for peace in Cameroon, Prince Monte.
Yeah, that was in the past, if I can say so. Are we having peace in Cameroon now?
Peace does not mean the absence of war.
It still means the same, in another sense. If we cannot, in the northwest region where I come from, if I cannot move freely in my village, if I cannot go to the farm, if I cannot go and buy, if I cannot do my things normally, it means there is no peace. Even though we are, first of all, living in negative peace, because always a negative peace is when the people cannot really eat well, they cannot really fend for themselves. There are a lot of difficulties and challenges in the society. Cameroon used to have negative peace because before the advent of this crisis in the northwest and southwest region of the country, when you look at the economy of the country, look at the situation that the people are living in the country, will you say Cameroonians are living well? No, people had these grudges in them. People had these challenges with them. We have young people graduate from school, no job. You create a lot of schools around. People go to school. We credit him that way for creating more universities in the country. But what is the content of these universities? When students graduate with a first degree, master's degree, PhD, we see PhD students. We know PhD means you are supposed to provide solution to the society. But we see PhD students every now and then going for hunger strike in the front of the Ministry of Higher Education because they want that the government should recruit them. Those are people who are trained to provide solution to the society, not to depend again on the government. So we thank him for creating universities. But when you look at the primary school sector, so many schools, we don't have teachers. You look at the secondary school, we have so many schools created, littered around the countries, but there are no teachers. Go to some schools, you will see the community will manage to get some villagers who maybe had his ordinary level somewhere for him to be teaching, who does not even first of all know what he is teaching. So those are some of the challenges. So the people live in that kind of a situation for so long. Okay. And we used to say we are the haven of peace in Africa and things like that.
With regard to peace.
Professor Bilua, we're coming back to you, please. Professor Bilua.
Yes.
In 1984, there was the attempted coup d'etat. Mm-hmm. President Paul Biya pardoned and even appointed some of the plotters. Mm-hmm. 1990, your party supporters of the CPDM, they marched against the democratic wind of change that Cameroon was not ripe.
Yes.
Mr. Biya said, no, Cameroon is ripe. Mm-hmm. In before the year 2000, the Bakassi Peninsula draining a lot of resources. Mm-hmm. People said, let's go to war. Mr. Biya said he's going to the International Court of Justice. 2008, during the hunger strikes.
And he won.
Trouble.
And Cameroon won.
Cameroon has during the hunger strikes, although he threatened people, but he solved the problem. Now, don't you look at this as part of achievements of the president, because you seem to be speaking from the other end of the CPDM party, say this, but this, it happened this way, but it should have been this way.
No, I mean, I think President Paul Biya has managed to maintain peace somehow, all right? We fought against Nigeria over the Bakassi Peninsula, and we went to International Court of Justice at the A in the Netherlands, and we won. We got Bakassi back. Cameroon was attacked by Boko Haram in the upper north region, and we managed to keep the territorial integrity of Cameroon intact, right? Right now, we are facing a crisis in the northwest and the southwest. So we have to acknowledge the fact that President Paul Biya, over these 39 years in power, has been faced with a lot of challenges. And somehow, Cameroon has managed to come out stronger out of these challenges. But, I mean, talking about what went okay and what went wrong, we'll come back to what went wrong. He has built, Cameroon has now a lot of infrastructures, right? We have a dam in Mekin, in Memveleu. We are building now a dam in the Saranga River in my village. We have a second bridge in Douala, in Bonaberi. So I think those are some of the achievements. So many universities, like Prince Mundi said, so many universities. Now we have 8 state universities. We have a private institution of higher education, close to 300. In every headquarter of a region, we have a reference hospital. So in the education sector and in the health sector, there have been some achievements, okay? But like I keep on saying that nobody is saying that everything is perfect, all right? So we'll come back to the shortcomings.
Challenges.
Okay.
Now, Dr. Ningwanyam, there are certain words attributed to the chairman of your party, President Paul Biya. There's a parti sorcier. Mais voici donc à Douala. Certains petits partis politiques n'est dû au pouvoir qui peut, non, qui veut, mais qui peut. I don't know what that menace that when the president uses. Some people think that it is a menace instead, that is threatening Cameroonians instead. Could we call it part of the failures or some of the things that we need the president to improve upon?
No, I guess that is part of emotional intelligence. When you are pushed the wall and you're angry, you can say some things, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you mean what you're saying. Because if people are angry on the street or saying something, it means there's something that you need to do about it. You need to correct something, and so. If people are angry, the best option is to listen to them, find out what exactly is going on, put hands together and solve it. I think the biggest problem with challenges we've had in Cameroon is that, the structure, the way the country is structured. I would say it again, I'll restate it. There was West Cameroon and East Cameroon. And in West Cameroon, the mentality in West Cameroon, there was this thing about community labor. People come together and join hands to solve problems. It's a way of life. It's a mindset. But over here, when you say you are the president or you are the boss, people fold their hands and expect you to solve the problems, provide the breakfast, provide the everything, carry the dirt. That's why nothing is working. So I think at the end of the day, it is this change of mindset which is coming with the progressive that would get things running. Because, if you were to ask who is responsible for the debt that is piling on the street, now people will tell you it's President Paul Biya. And if you go telling him, he's responsible for the debt, he's responsible for the potholes, he's responsible for the lack of water, when he has provided those things, that is where it hurts. And he gets very annoyed also because he's supposed to provide the vision and the resources. He provides the vision and the resources. And again, as I'm telling you, he puts some of these ministers and directors and so on, hoping that they will do the job. But many of them go and sit and expect him to say, fill this pothole, fill that pothole. That's what they expect the president to do. And yet when they're stealing the resources, they don't ask the president.
Who is to blame? The person who puts them there and they steal and go?
The point is, I had thought about it the whole time, and I came to realize that the problem is not with the Cameroonian, watch my fingers, the problem is with our educational system. If you've heard me talk about the educational system, Mundi was just saying it, and Prof was mentioning all these schools. Watch my lips. Our educational system in Cameroon for the last 60 years is not good. Bold, make it big, bold, and underline. We deceive ourselves. Oh, the Anglophone system. Oh, the Francophone system. Oh, I have a PhD. I have a second one, and so on. All of that is no use because our education, we have not been trained and brought up to solve problems. We have to do that, otherwise there will be no emergence. If we don't correct our educational system, there will be that thing we are calling emergence is hot air. We will not see it.
We're talking about challenges. I'm still starting with you. What are the challenges now that President Paul Biya has faced, and how can he overcome them?
The greatest challenges he has faced is the challenge of manpower. It's the challenge of getting people to do their jobs or do their homework. That is where it is. Because God has given us a fertile land, given us rain, good climate, and so on. God is not going to, it's said that God feeds the birds, but the birds have got to go look for the meal themselves. Cameroonians, there's something absolutely wrong with Cameroonians. Give this country to the Chinese, of course, they're taking over, right? But give this country to the Chinese. They're buying a lot of land. Give the country to them and see. They're buying the land. We keep selling the land for them, and then we take the money and go and buy their rice. That's the stupidity that we're living in. So what I'm saying is we need to wake up from sleep and then find out how the Chinese do it, how the South Koreans do it, how the Israelites do it, how the Japanese do it, how Singapore does it, how Malaysia does it, how Finland does it, how Rwanda is doing it. We keep running around in circles here, deceiving ourselves, thinking that we are up to something. We are up to nothing.
Challenges, Mundi, friends.
I will just take this simple example, Moki Edwin. I come from Bangolan in the Gokutunja division, where we live on rice, we cultivate rice, rice sends us to school, rice feeds us, rice, we supply rice to the country. Do you know my village, Bangoland, that makes up one of the villages in the Ngokutunja division? The village as a whole has never had a single tractor to cultivate rice that we supply around the country.
You mean that you cultivate rice and say you cannot buy a tractor?
No, Monkey, that's not the issue. That's not the issue. That's not the issue.
You expect the government to give
You
you
want
No.
just as Dr. was saying
Listen,
that
I've not
Paul
landed.
Biya, the road is dirty, is Paul Biya.
Please, I'm
What
going
is over
somewhere.
Paul
I'm
Biya?
going
Anything
somewhere,
like-
please.
You are not complaining with tractor?
Yeah, get me.
So what you do with the money?
Get me. I'm going somewhere.
Okay, well,
I want to bring this picture. There was a tractor assembling company that came to Cameroon.
Yes.
Recently, all of us, if anybody here says that he has not seen tractors being buried somewhere in the country here, in a Bolova, that means you are deceiving. You want to lie
They were not meant for your
Cameroonians.
village.
They were not meant for my village, but the government of Cameroon brought it in to help poor farmers, to help local and to help common initiative groups. That was the essence of that tractor. Why is it being buried in a Bolova? Why is it getting bad? The tractors are lined
The
up.
challenge now is that misuse of
That is where I was going to land, because government keeps on spending money on acquiring equipment that will help the local Cameroonians make their lives better, but some particular individuals will gather all these resources for themselves, a handful of individuals. We are not accusing Paul Biya, but those who are supposed to manage the resources, they are the ones doing all these things.
about challenges.
Yeah, I think.
Could you concentrate also on corruption? It's not a challenge, I think.
Please, I'm coming.
Okay, sir.
You're taking a lot of things away from my mouth. I think President Biya, to be fair to him, he may have, he's a very good leader, no doubt about that. But the biggest challenge he has is managing a government that is at war with itself. I don't want to be calling names here, from the top to the bottom. I discussed with a lot of ministers, and there is no way you enter a minister's office and come out without him telling you that Minister A, B is fighting me, is blocking me. And that is why a lot of things are going wrong in this country. There's a lot of infighting among, from the presidency to the Prime Minister's office, to the Senate, to the National Assembly, and within the government itself. And I'm sure they are taking advantage of the fact that the head of state is aging out. And so it's like in a family where the father is no longer there and everybody is just doing things the way they want. I'll tell you the truth. I'm one of the persons, sometimes there was a staff of mine who asked me whether I'm head of state of this country, because I like driving around Yaoundé on weekends to see things. And behold, I saw in the middle of Yaoundé, they're filling potholes with soil. You will not believe that. And members of government are sitting. So the whole thing is that we need the head of state. I don't know how he's going to do that. He needs to sit up and call some of these ministers to order, because a lot of things are happening and everybody is turning around and saying the president. But again, you can also blame him for, at least, even if he's not there, he needs somebody to do the follow-up and give him information
feedback.
and let him know this minister is not working.
So we have
First of all, we have a government that has overstayed together for too long. Imagine a single minister on his, in one ministry for more than 15 years.
If he's delivering the goods, what is the trouble? Why must he be
No,
moved?
if we are delivering the goods,
They will not be at this level.
Okay, Professor.
But please,
Okay,
I want to talk
Christian.
about the challenges that the head of state has been facing for 39 years in power. There are some that he could have avoided, like the Anglophone crisis. I think I will have to blame him for that, because the first thing is that, like Dr. said here, he believes in people who tell him lies. And I don't know why he's keeping some of these Anglophone ministers who have lost the support of the people. I think we have said it over time that Biya should try a new generation of Anglophones, and let's see where this problem
What is the measuring rod that you use to say is support?
No, but yesterday was the CBDM anniversary. Go and find out where they celebrated the events. In hotels. I mean, in Bamida, anywhere, they tried. Something wrong.
When did you last go to your own village, Christian?
I'm not a minister.
You are not a minister, but you cannot go there.
No,
From
but
a minister
I
of
don't
supply,
announce.
who will be okay? Now, Professor, we're talking about the challenge of corruption. How do you look at it? A lot has been said about Mr. Biya, the President of the Republic of Cameroon, fighting against corruption, arresting his close collaborators, but apparently much is not done.
Well, I mean, it's a it should be a widespread fight against corruption. It is not enough to just catch a prime minister and a few members of the cabinet and send them to jail. Because below these people, you have degrees, a variety of people who are in the system and who embezzle state money, and nothing is happening to them. Ever since President Biya put up with the Sparrowhawk operation, and then ever since he has created these agencies, CONAC, ANIF, and so on and so forth, do you have the feeling that corruption is regressing? No. The average Cameroonian has the feeling that the society, the Cameroonian society, is more and more corrupt. So it means that it is not working. Okay? So something has to be done in the way of educating Cameroonian, as well as punishing those who are guilty of anything. Okay? Because people say, okay, look, okay, if I'm caught up stealing or embezzle state funds, I will go to prisons. After that, if I'm younger, I will come out and enjoy my money. Okay, so we need to be creative enough in order to fight corruption with more adequate means and have relevant results. Right now, the average Cameroonian believes that we have failed in the fight against corruption. The other thing that I would like to talk about is that, you see, we have failed to modernize Cameroon. We have failed to modernize Cameroon. You understand? Because today, we still rely on selling cocoa, oil, coffee, and so on and so forth. All right. We cannot develop Cameroon if we don't become an industrialized society, if we don't become an industrialized manufacturer. Okay? You see that countries that were with us when Aïdjo left power in the 80s, in 1982, Morocco, Ivory Coast, Rwanda was behind us, Ghana to a certain extent, they are all ahead of us now because we have failed to modernize our societies. Okay, today we cannot rely on agriculture in order to be competitive. We need to do what Ghana has recently done. That is, we are no longer selling cocoa or coffee. We are transforming everything in Ghana so as to sell cocoa butter, coffee butter, and so on and so forth. That way we'll be more competitive.
Prof, thank you. Let's take 1 minute each to conclude and leave this topic and go to the next topic. Yeah. Christian, what should be done now to, improve conditions that we say Mr. Biya worked hard to improve, yet there's a lot to be done. What should be done according to you? 1 minute, please.
The first thing is that we should look for a solution to the crisis in the Northwest and Southwest region, because that crisis is draining the economy. The state treasury. If you imagine how much is being pumped into the military every day to maintain peace and a lot of things. So, and then secondly, I think the head of state has to empower CONAC. CONAC should be given the power to investigate
and arrest
and then prosecute.
Thank you. Prince Monty.
Okay, Mr. Edwin, I think that what we need at the moment is a change of the system. The system has to be overhauled, because the present system, even if you put Jesus Christ as the president of this country, he will not be able to govern this country.
I want to indicate that you are also an evangelist.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I agree with Mundi.
The system is complete.
So the system has to be changed.
The system is complete.
There should be an overhaul of the system.
Change the entire system.
Thank you. Now let's end with you, Dr. Nigwanyam. What should be done?
Thank you very much. I will start off by giving a hand clap to Professor Biloa here. I'll clap earnestly for you because you have really got that progressive mind and vision. And I'm telling you, many of our elites, CPDM and ministers, if they had Professor Biloa's mindset, would not be where we are. And I just want to, even if I'm going to say nothing else, I just want to sincerely thank you and let Cameroonians see someone who has got the right kind of mindset to take us forward. And I guess you are in charge of communication, but a lot of the other people that you send on television to talk on behalf of the CPDM, they're just weaver birds who say things that don't make sense and irritate the population.
I still want you to conclude. What is the way forward?
The way forward in this country, a nation or anything is run on the politics, the economics, the development, and the machinery is driven by a sound education, which we have not got. And then the corruption that you are talking about, there is no way you can fight this corruption if we don't change our economic machinery. And I must say, many people hate me for this. ENAM is responsible for 80% of our problems, and we should shut it down like they have done in France. Go to Rwanda and find out what kind of ENAM they have there and bring here, and a lot of things will begin to work.
What if it is restructured instead of shutting it down?
No. By restructuring means...
You're getting to extremes.
No. Shutting it down means, because if we were to bring their curriculum here, what they study, you will laugh. Just cancel it, then redo it and start all over again and give it a new lease of life and do it differently. Just forget about it, do it differently. There's a lot, we can't talk about it now, but it has to do, and the politics, by the way, the kind of leadership we need in Cameroon and Africa. Democracy is not working when people are poor and broke and poorly educated. What we need enlightened, benevolent despots in Africa, and the nations will work.
That's a polite way of calling a dictator.
It's not dictatorship. Remember, you have to understand what enlightened means. You've got to understand what benevolent means. And benevolent means you care for common good. And then it's about working the values of truth and love and making sure that you take care of common good.
Thank you. That's all about the 39 years of the New Deal government that was celebrated on Saturday, November 6. We're now moving to the second topic we have for discussion. It's about the crisis in the Northwest, Southwest, the crisis in the far north, and the impacts on medical practice in those regions. I'm starting with you again, Dr. Nigwanya. You wear the shoe, you know where it pinches.
Thank you very much. You're talking about the crisis in the medical field in the Northwest and Southwest region, as well as up in the north. Now,
I'm talking about how the crisis you have in the Northwest and Southwest region, that is the fighting and so on, is affecting the practice of medicine.
Now, I'm reframing it because the practice of medicine in the whole country in the first place is not good enough. So you're asking me how is the crisis affecting something that was not working in the first place? That's the question you're asking me.
Go ahead, doctor.
All right? Because if you ask me as a medical doctor, in fact, if I'm sick today, I don't know where to go to. If I'm sick, what is the indicator that our health systems are not working? Where are our big people treated? If your big people are not treated in your country, it means your health system is not working. And the rate of deaths, suffering and all whatnot is on the rise and so on. So let's not waste time trying to find out how it is in the Northwest and Southwest or anywhere else. We can only lump it up to say that no services are working in those places, and we are saying that the war should stop, and there's a way of stopping that war. And we had the opportunity of stopping this war if we had a truthful major national dialogue, and we actually created that West Cameroon and the East Cameroon and made things work. But we cooked something that is not working, and that's why we are paying it now. So the same difficulties you are having in the educational system is the same difficulties in the health system, in the same difficulties in transportation. So there's no need in agriculture. There's no need wasting time on that. But let us say that we need, initially I said that our educational system is poor. And that educational system also affects the training of medical doctors, health personnel in the whole nation. And I say it, I was the ninth batch of Qs. Ninth batch of Qs, that's a long time ago. And in those days when I trained with Professor Monico, so Professor Nasa, they all taught us. And medicine, it had to be very clear in your mind that you have preventive medicine and you have curative medicine. Preventive medicine, and they gave preventive medicine the upper hand. And they taught us about hygiene, all these things, and whatever. When you see all this death and the way we are going now, no water, people are dying of cholera. Look at in 2021 in Cameroon, people are dying of cholera, dying of things like that. It's unheard of. Malaria everywhere. We have failed, and we need to change it and make the whole system work. Don't ask me about health systems in the Northwest and Southwest. Just agree that it's bad, but go on to say that in the whole country it's not working. And we need to sit up and we must do something about it for it to work. I speak as a medical doctor. I'm a surgeon. I'm a urologist. I train in QS. I trained in Nairobi. I trained in London. I worked in London. I've gone to the US, gone everywhere. I see how it is done. And I will put it in a question form. If you were to take all our 10,000 medical doctors and subject them to the American testing exam where they test medical doctors trained overseas, what will be the percentage pass? That is the question. And in those days when I went to QS, I went to primary school without shoes. I'm a poor guy. But I was smart enough to go there. But today, how many poor people go into queues and all those places? It's full of children of colonels, generals, ministers, and so on. Even go to Enam, all that kind of thing. So it's this elite who put their children there. And when you have the child of a minister going there to be a medical doctor, he doesn't soil his hands. He just talks through his nose and so on. Even as a medical doctor, in those days, there were some children of those ministers. They used to look at us like some riffraffs or something like that. So they have, medicine is something where you need to have this empathy and come close to the patient. You have to bond with the patient. There has to be that trust, and so there's no trust. So it's just money making. And oh, by the way, did I mention private preventive medicine? It doesn't exist. It's gone. Now everybody is just looking for curative medicine because they can make a penny off the patient here and there and so on. Preventive medicine is in the dustbin. Go to QS, the medical training center, and see how much grass is growing there. It's in the bush.
It sounds so easy to wave. The success is made in the medical field.
No. I'm so ashamed of what we are doing.
So the hospitals have it in north or south and the country. They don't treat people.
No, well,
you say we have failed as if.
Oh, we have failed.
Okay.
If I come here and say that we are doing well, I'm deceiving Cameroonians. We have failed. By the way, we need to be able to make our own drugs, produce all the things that we need, and so on. Just so much to do. And when we agree that we have failed, then probably we'll be in a position to wake up and start doing things right.
Monday.
Mokedun, going by the topic or going by what you're saying, the difficulties and the challenges that medical personnel go through, I think that's
in the northwest and southwest
regions particularly. I remember that when you go to these regions, you realize that most government hospitals don't function properly in these regions because most of the staff have left those regions to safer areas, and the villagers and the population are left on their own. Those who struggle to even practice there are the Baptists, the Catholic, and other private individuals who set up their clinics. That's why you see roadside drugs thrive in those areas because people cannot leave some of these remote areas to trek for considerable distances to go to places like, particularly in the northwest, to go to Shisong to get better medical care in Shisong. People cannot leave very remote areas to go to these urban areas, to go to Bamenda to be treated. It's really difficult, and these medical personnel are caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. Why? Because at times, if a separatist fighter is brought to the hospital to be treated, if the military is aware, by the time the military gets there, they arrest and beat every medical personnel in that hospital for having treated the separatist fighter. When a military personnel is being brought there for treatment, when the separatist fighters come after, they arrest and torture everybody in that place for having treated a military personnel. So where do they belong to? So those are some of the challenges that these persons go through. My wife is a nurse, so I can better explain this thing because she has been there in Bamenda and she has gone through some of these difficulties. There are times that they caught her. She was going to the regional hospital. She was caught. It's just, I don't know, the separatist fighters caught her. When they discovered that she was nurse, they almost took her away. But when she spoke to them, say, we are here to treat you people, that's when they release her. So you see some of the challenges that they go through because of what they are.
It's not easy being there. Humanitarian workers are facing lots of challenges there, Christian.
Yeah, true. That's why we're calling on the government to do everything to resolve the crisis. Because, the picture that Doctor has painted and then Monday, it's the same picture I have in mind, and it feels for the poor civilians in these two regions. I don't want to talk about the war against Boko Haram because that is not our own war, if I put it that way.
It's Cameroon that is fighting.
It's war that has visited us in our home. But okay, I think government can do something to stop all of what we see. There are so many people who are sick. They don't have access to medicine, to medical doctors in these two regions, of course, and I think the only way out is that we should look for a solution to this crisis. And
Professor, what's your take on you used to lecture at the University of Bamenda?
Yes, I used to teach at the University of Bamenda. I used to go there also for master defenses and so on and so forth. And when I was the sub-director at the Ministry of Higher Education, I used to go there for professional exams.
You used to go? You no longer go there?
No, ever since the year 2018, I've not gone to Bamenda. Yes, it's very dangerous to go there, especially if you have a service car. All right, so I would love to go to Bamenda, but it's very dangerous. It's very risky.
You certainly have heard or followed up how medical staff go through difficulties there.
Yes. I know about it. Some of my friends are medical doctors, and they are also from the Northwest, so they tell me how difficult it is to work in the Northwest. So I know. We all know what is going on.
What are the experiences that have related to you?
The experiences that they have related to me is that one of our colleagues who used to teach with me in Boya, when he was transferred to Bamenda, he was killed in Bamenda. Dr. Buffon was killed in Bamenda. Another one of my colleagues was kidnapped when he left his house in Bafut and he was going to Bambili. He was kidnapped. Later on, he was released, but he never got back his car, and so on and so forth. So there are so many experiences that we have heard about. So it's a very risky place to go to, Bamenda.
Doctor, do you sensitize people, even both the military, the government troops and the separatist fighters, that humanitarian law, I mean, when you are operating, working on the field, you are not looking at somebody's uniform, you don't even ask for an ID card before you treat somebody. Do you sensitize them to be aware of that?
It's just so unfortunate that we have lost, we don't have this good sense anymore, and we have no respect for human life. I mean, it's just so sad that people will be dragged from hospital and killed, or that you just kill someone, you just take pleasure in killing someone. You know, what hurts me most is because in our training as medical doctors, when I'm using medical doctor, yeah, it stands for the whole hospital structure. With nurses, it's not about doctor per se. We are trained to relieve human suffering, to bring life and health to them, to heal their spirits, heal their emotions, heal them physically, socially, everything. It's a package deal. And, life is sacred, and I can imagine myself spending sleepless nights on an old person who is dying and the heart is still beating, and I'm doing everything and waiting for God to take that, and I have no right to take it away. You have no right to abortions. But when I just see people go down the road with a gun, be they either military or AMBA or so, and then you just shoot anybody you like, it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense, and it's really just very unfortunate. Whether it's the military, it's the AMBA, or it's the civilian that is dying, it's someone's child that is dying, you have no right to take someone's life. And, for a medical doctor struggling with people whose kidneys are failing, with people who have all these kind of ailments, and you are doing the best, a woman who doesn't have a child, you're trying to see whether you can make her have a child, then somebody just walks around with a gun and kills whoever he wants. That's not funny. It's not funny.
What are you doing to solve the problem?
What I'm doing to solve the problem is...
You not as an individual, first of all,
that's
and
right.
as a medical professional.
That's right. I used to kind of attack problems where they were, and I realized that it was a waste of time when I got to when I had better managerial skills and entrepreneurial skills. If you are from the village like me, and we carry water from the stream, right? If you go to the stream every day and the water is dirty, you and I, the whole village comes there and they're carrying the dirty water, and we keep doing that for 10 years, 15 years. It's not working. The problem is there's a cow upstream that is dirtying the water, so you deal with the cow upstream. So what I was saying is we have to deal with our management, deal with the way we do things, so that things work. If it's when you are trying to micromanage or dealing with the leaves, it doesn't work. Go to the roots. What are the root causes? Deal with the root causes, and everything falls in place.
We have barely 5 minutes to be together, and this is Press Hour on CRTV. We discussed the New Deal at 38, and we're asking the lessons that we could draw from his leadership and Cameroon crisis, medical practice at CROSSROADS. Now, we're going to give 2 minutes each to conclude. Now, I would like that you conclude on 2 topics we've discussed here, Professor Bilua. One, the CPDM. What is the take-home message? And secondly, the fighting, targeting medical staff. What is the take-home message?
Okay, I would like to conclude by talking about the crisis in the Northwest and the Southwest, because the CPDM, everybody knows what is obvious about the CPDM. CPDM needs to modernize the way it is being run.
You did that before now. You just did your elections into basic organization.
Yeah. We are taking care of those things. It's an internal matter, so I don't have to tell you what we think about it.
The infighting you got there and so on.
Yeah. The infighting was a minor problem because we have 360 sections in Cameroon. If you have infighting in 10 sections, I mean, what is the percentage? Let me talk about the crisis in the Northwest and the Southwest. You see, the government has proposed many solutions. and the crisis doesn't seem to recede, which seems to be an indication that solutions that were proposed are not up to the task. So logically, the government should go back to the drawing board. Right from the beginning, some of us have been saying that what the populations of the Northwest and the Southwest want is political freedom, a degree of autonomy. And from my own observation, the degree of autonomy that was granted to the Northwest and the Southwest, that they call special status, is not exactly what the populations want. That is why I think that we are not going anywhere. So we need to go further and give them the kind of autonomy that they had during the Federation, whereby people were able to choose their own leaders, people were able to run their own affairs. We don't have to apply it to the whole country because not the whole country is in crisis. But for the Northwest and the Southwest, we need, it seems to me, that's my personal opinion, that does not commit the CPDM
Party
management.
Yeah.
It seems to me that the populations in the Northwest and the Southwest should be granted more political autonomy.
Is that not decentralization? How different should that autonomy be?
You see by yourself that it doesn't work. You see by yourself that it doesn't work because Edwin, I don't know. You want to tease me or what? You see, because decentralization means that the governor is still appointed by the central government.
Okay.
The president of the regional council is elected, but how much power has he?
Thank you.
Okay.
2 minutes to conclude. No, Christian, please take 1 minute, 30 seconds.
Okay. I think I have just two things. Talk about the crisis. We're talking about the condition of medical doctors. I think if you look, all the civil servants in these two regions, they suffer almost the same fate. Learn not to. Because if you have children in the house who are crying, you don't just go to the market and buy what you think is good for them and come and give them. You have to ask them, what exactly do you want? You have been crying for 5 years. What do you want? When the child tells you what he wants, you tell that child, look, you are asking for this, but I think, what if I offer you this because I don't have this?
Thank you, Christian.
And then secondly, I think CPDM should start democratizing. The CPDM should start
democracy from within.
No, they should start democratizing from within the party. Democratizing from within the party.
Okay.
Because what we saw, we saw candidates who did not even go out to the field to campaign, but they had to be session presidents.
Please, 1 minute.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think that the CPDM party has been in power for so long and they have planted all over the whole country. There's no family in Cameroon that does not have a CPDM militant, and that's a strategy. I think that the party who is in power should endeavor to put an end to this crisis. What should they do? Let the head of the party and his government go and meet the actors, not the stage managed people that they bring to deceive us, that they are fighters. They should go and meet the actors in a neutral ground. Let them sit and discuss. Just to end with this quote, the Bible makes us to understand that today is Sunday, Ecclesiastes chapter 29 verse 2. When the righteous governs, the people rejoice. When the wicked rule, the people suffer. So where should we situate our government?
Thank you.
As a
Dr. Nick Wanyam.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Just to say that we are going to have, watch my lips, we are going to have a new dialogue with a genuine dialogue of unity, reconciliation, progress, and peace. And we're also going to have the state of West Cameroon born, the state of East Cameroon born, and there will be decentralization within those states to allow people, let's say people of the Southwest, to function without the interference of people from the Northwest, people from Marwa to function without the interference of people of the South. And the icing on the cake is that governors, SDOs, and DOs will no longer be appointed. They will be elected, and they will have to render account to their people. They will be monitored by their people, and they will be dismissed if they don't do their job, so that we begin to correct this thing. There will be so many other things, but we have to start to do things right. Starting now, going forward, Cameroon is never going to be the same again, and there's going to be more progressive CPDM coming on deck, and the management is going to be innovative, and a lot of things are going to change.
Is that prophetic?
Well, I read the crystal ball, and I'm telling you what the cardinal told me before he died. So that's how it's going to be.
Okay.
Thank you.
That is where we end today's edition of Press Hour on CRTV. We had Professor Edmond Biloa, Vice Rector of University of Yaoundé II and CPDM party communicator, Dr. Nick Ngwanyam, politician from the CPDM party, President of St. Louis University Institute, Prince Mondier, journalist with Vision 4 Television, Christian Bibgo, journalist and publisher of the Guardian Post newspaper. All of them came and joined me here, Moki Edwin Kinzeka, to have our own contribution to nation building. Thanks for watching.